Yeah, so video is like everywhere now. Obviously, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, business pages are getting up there now. YouTube, getting in on the act, all sort of competing against each other. It's never really been more important to sort of get on video and start doing that stuff. It's actually become probably one of the most important parts of the whole content marketing process. Um, so what I'm going to try and do today is give you like a framework that we can work within to create all our videos and actually increase our reach, visibility, and impact. Which is some of the values that HD Creative, the company that started, was actually sort of built on. Um, but what we do now will actually affect everything that we do going forward, because if you have the framework, you could literally create endless content ideas and endless video contents based on this particular framework. Now, I came up with this framework a while ago, and feel free to like rename this because it's like terribly named. But we'll work with it. But that framework actually got kind of shot to pieces really by ChatGPT, which has actually made the process in some ways a lot easier. It'll save you a ton of time now. People have different views on ChatGPT and how it should be used. I'm not going to go too deep into that. That said, it can help speed up the process, and most coaches who are creating video content will be using it. So if you want to speed up your process and obviously keep up with the volume of content that's going to be coming out in the next few months using this stuff, it's probably worth using it in bits. So we'll kind of touch on that as well. A quote that I love, I don't know who said this, I read it somewhere. If you show up and are the same as everybody else, then your message is going to get lost in the sea of sameness that is social media. Social media, like, you realise how vast it actually is. I've just got back from the Caribbean and America a few months ago, and you realise when you're in these different places, like, how vast it actually is, and the different corners of the internet that you can reach, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to get into that because I think people can get somewhat mixed messages when it comes to reach, because people think it's like garnering tens of millions of views, or getting 20 million views on a video going viral or whatever. And that can happen from time to time, and that's great. But really, with reach is basically just getting in front of the right people that you can help, and that can help you drive your business forward. That said, social media can feel like a bit of a black hole at times, and it's unfair at times, and it becomes overwhelming. And sometimes you just want to get out of it and just like log off. Like, listen to what we said before about kind of getting banned off Instagram can be a blessing in disguise sometimes. But on one side of it, you got like people who are living like the highest flying lives going. Nice picture of The Rock there. Everyone loves The Rock. Everyone loves The Rock, yeah. But you can see the sort of like the difference between the highly successful people online and like ordinary people, which is like me. Which is a very dodgy selfie, or me doing my best Rock impression. But what it does is it builds a narrative in our head that we need to live these like sexy, rich, famous, crazy, cool lives that other people are doing. On a smaller level, we can just get caught up in comparison with other coaches. We see these coaches who are making 10k months and 20k months and doing all these crazy things and living laptop lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. And we can start to like compare ourselves, which is actually where we don't want to be. And that's simply not true, especially if you're in the game for business-related impact like we are. We've all got coaching businesses, we're all coaches who gather want to make an impact. But that feeling is fueled by and fueling imposter syndrome. Now, these are just things that I'm not a psychologist in any way. These are just things I've noticed with my clients and through coaching and through video content. It gives you a reason why you shouldn't do something versus why you should. Like getting in front of camera, it kind of gives you that reason. Oh, I'm not going to do that because it's never going to be as good as someone else's. And it kind of just gets that grip on you, where to the point where you put it off and put it off and put it off, to the point where actually nothing ever gets done, and you should have started it 6 months ago. Someone said something to me, and it really rung true. It's like, if you think about where you were 6 months ago, it's exactly where you should be now. But you just put it off thinking, oh, I'll start in January or whatever. But actually, you could have started it 6 months ago and been a lot further along. So if you aren't creating as many videos as you want, actually just getting started. I was speaking to Brett before. About 8 years ago, I made my first YouTube video. I think it was like making protein porridge, and my voice doesn't even sound the same. It's like totally embarrassing. It might still be up there somewhere. I don't actually know. But it's governed and predicated by fear. Now, the people that win with video are the ones that create and publish content in spite of fear. That means getting on camera, putting the message out, overcoming that fear of being judged and all that other stuff that we might run into. The fear can be split into 5 major feelings on the fear rocket. Don't ask me what the other 3 are. But I'm going to use the final 2, which I think ring true for us as coaches, and possibly our clients as well. So hopefully you get some value for this. The first one is people will judge us or won't accept us. So we put a piece of content out, get a few nasty comments or whatever, some judgmental comments. It might even be friendly in your mates' WhatsApp groups where you start to get ribbed a bit for a piece of content you put out. I've definitely been there before, and it makes you want to not put the content out. So once we kind of realise this is the stuff that can actually get us from zero to actually making content and getting in front of the people that we want to impact. And the other one is we won't live up to our own expectations, and this comes back to the comparison thing of actually X person is making these videos and they look awesome, and actually I'm not going to make a video ever as good as that. But the truth is, people want connection. People are scared as you are, and people want you to win. People don't want you to fail. At the end of the day, people need our help. We're coaches for a reason. People need our help, and we can help them win through the content, and we can give that massive value add to them. And usually, the people who give the biggest value add through content are the ones that win. People just want you to be real. They don't want this big company facade. They just want a real person, and you are that person. But that said, there is a lot of people doing what you do, and it's very easy to blend in with the penguins. But when you're on your purpose and are a real person who cares deeply about your people, you stand out. A kind of a woo term, purpose and all that kind of stuff. Well, I thought it was, but actually, when you really think about it, you can't stand out if you really focus on it. I think these are just some questions that I constantly just kind of go over for myself, and I think can be of value. I'm not going to touch on this too much, but what are you actually passionate about? What are your values? Why would someone choose you over anyone else? Think about this stuff, because this is good for like positioning and all that kind of stuff. Why are you different? And what is your backstory? We can sort of give people that information. But who am I to tell you all this stuff? Like, I could be anyone. I'm Steve. I've been in the fitness industry for 14 years as a PT, online coach, tutor and assessor. Partner to Becky, dad to Harrison, and dog dad to Walter. I should have put a picture of the dog up there, shouldn't I? Get some empathy on myself. Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. That would have got me 10 million views. Yeah. So yeah, I've done about 10 years on the gym floor, constantly doing 30 to 40 sessions. In your 20s, it's a lot different than when you're in your 30s and have got a dog and a baby and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't really want to be sort of getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning anymore. Didn't want to be getting home at 10 o'clock at night anymore. I wanted to be there with the baby and all that kind of stuff. So kind of transitioned online, and I started delivering level 2 and 3 fitness qualifications as well. I found that to be sort of, for the companies I was working for, more like a putting bums on seats exercise rather than actual giving the value and making people better trainers and coaches. So that didn't last very long. But on the side of that, I was actually doing online coaching as well. I was consistently doing about 15 to 20 clients. I just didn't want to. I kind of got out of that when I started doing video. I'm an Everton fan for my sins, and I'm a very average Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu player and powerlifter. Probably the 2 most frustrating things you can do along with video editing. So I've kind of like shot my nose off my face. I don't know. But why video? I spent 5 or 6 years as a videography hobbyist with no real intention of making it a full-time job. I did a few family weddings and engagements, a few local restaurants, hairdressers, things like that. And then the gym where I was a PT at, Core Fitness, I started doing their social media content. I actually became their social media manager for a while. And in COVID, I started picking up the sort of video content bug, started creating more of it, started getting a lot more success, started having companies come to me, started wanting me to help them with video content, and it sort of grew from there. Yeah, so predominantly work now with personal trainers and online coaches, gyms, and service-based businesses. And that's when HD Creative was born. HD Creative is kind of like a play on words. My baby's initials, HD, and high definition, kind of ties into video. Kind of, it was just like a cool like name. That's the kind of meaning behind it. But the values that HD Creative is grounded in are visibility, impact, and income, and there's reasons for this as well. Now, bit of a sort of asking you guys a question. Have you ever made a video and put quite a ton of effort into it and thought that's like got a massive amount of value? This is really going to get tons of likes and tons of shares, and it gets like 2 likes and no comments. Yeah.
The things you spend 10 seconds on.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
And it's super frustrating, right? Because you know that value can really help someone. So what I really wanted to do, and a lot of my clients were like coming across this problem, I really wanted, like, I know, like, we're a room full of coaches. We've got the value there. Every one of us has got a unique value that we can give to someone. So what I wanted to help people with is get that frustration under control and actually get them in front of the people that they want to help. Impact, big one. Every coach I've ever worked with, every PT I've ever worked with has been in it for some sort of like impact in some way. You want to positively impact someone's life. And income, because I've been that guy who's struggled with constantly turning over clients, constantly trying to lead gen, being frustrated with how much money I was making versus how much effort I was putting in. And what I realised was you can give as much value as you want for free, but you can't really help someone until someone pays you. So income is a big thing. So these are the 3 things that I really wanted to help all my clients with. And if I could do that, I knew that if I could do that with video, I knew that I was on a winner. So that's what I do now. So what we're going to cover is something called the ICE principle, a video content framework, and then some just tips and technique. Again, these acronyms are very dodgy, so if you've got any better names for them, I'm open to it. So the ICE principle, this is kind of a framework in which I can take you through the human element of doing it, but ChatGPT has kind of shortened this time frame down now massively. And I'll take you through how to do it on ChatGPT as well, briefly. Again, this doesn't look... The thing with ChatGPT that I think is, it's a very useful assistance tool, but it doesn't get your brain working very much. And I like getting my brain working, and I like thinking about stuff. It kind of takes that joy out of the creation process. At the end of the day, if we are content marketers, we are content creators. So as content creators, we want to be doing that. We want to be creating it. We don't want some other tool creating it for us. Okay, so the ICE principle. So ideas. Actually coming up with the ideas, Brett touched on this before. Actually creating a thing. So actually filming a thing. Editing it, and then distributing it. Pretty straightforward, right? In theory. Now, I always think, have you ever heard the saying in fitness, discipline equals freedom? I think it's like a Jocko Willink, like sort of like SAS style motivation thing. I think frameworks give flexibility, and you'll see that I'm going to go through that in this talk. Having a framework for your content creation process, or having a framework, best I'll probably say, for copywriting or for creating videos, is usually a good thing, because within that framework you know exactly where to put things. And you'll see this as we go on. So first thing is generating content ideas. So we can either generate the content ideas ourselves, or we can use AI technology, predominantly ChatGPT. I noticed that Notion have just brought out AI. I don't know if any of you use Notion, but they've got their own AI now, which kind of does similar things when it comes to like social media posts and things. So if you have it, Canva as well, yeah. So if you've got if you log onto ChatGPT and it says we're at capacity, nip onto Notion, it kind of can do the same thing when it comes to posts. And Canva as well, yeah.
There's a wait list for Notion. You just sign up and eventually get emails.
Yeah.
Even things like the Captions app now is giving you AI suggestions for post copy.
Yeah.
Videos.
There's this really weird thing. I don't know if you've seen it on Canva. I'm not a massive graphics guy, but there's like this magic thing, and basically you create a list of say, potential problems that your clients might face, and you export it into an Excel document, and then you import it into Canva, and it will literally create 10 graphics with all the different problems on, and create like a full carousel, and it does it in like a second. It is insanely like powerful. I don't know how powerful this is going to get, but I mean, it's a black hole in itself. So to start, what I like to do is just kind of map out three or four areas of influence that you can have, that you have as an online coach or fit pro. I'll put an example there, pretty sort of straightforward. In terms of the 3 or 4 areas of influence, sometimes people call these content pillars or pillar content. But training, mindset, nutrition, right? That could be anything, by the way. I mean, I used to work with powerlifters, and I used to work with pre and postnatal women. So that could be like pre and postnatal exercise. It could literally be anything, right? And then we've got to think about what we're actually experts in within them things. So within training, program design, fat loss, powerlifting, jiu-jitsu, pre and postnatal, could be anything, right? Mindset, accountability, motivation, overcoming limiting beliefs. These are things that we can like talk about in our content. And can you see how this is getting broken down into like kind of subcategories? Program design can then be broken down into subcategories. Fat loss can then be broken down into subcategories, so on and so forth, right? And all of these subtopics can be brought into more subtopics. And it kind of creates this like ecosystem or waterfall of like content ideas that you can just constantly go for. So one of the big things people used to say to me was, oh, eating healthy is expensive, right? So high protein foods are expensive. Buying chicken over processed stuff is, expensive. So content idea could be low calorie protein options or low cost protein shopping list, right? But you can get subcategories off that. How to get protein? You might have seen Alex Hormozy going into like petrol stations and being like, oh, let's find 25 grams of protein in a petrol station, whatever it is, right? So we can figure these out based on what you're actually working, and everyone's going to be different on that. That's obviously just like a typical example. Now, this is where AI can come in. So I've kind of done this, and it actually works pretty well, to be honest. Like the content ideas it does come up with, if you say generate me 10 ideas, there might be maybe 5 or 6 that might work for you. It is pretty good. It's not too far off. I'd argue though that as coaches, we should really know that already. We should really know what the pain points are, the knowledge gaps are, the frequently asked questions are that we can address in our content. So we can come up with that stuff ourselves. We can write all this stuff down. We can do, Monday.com pipelines and Notion pipelines with all this stuff on. But actually, AI can do this now pretty quick. Some you will have to sort of just dispose of because they won't be very good. Some you will keep in. It's important to know that AI is not perfect, but you can filter out what works and what doesn't, as I said. So this is one that I just put in. This was actually last night. Give me 10 attention-grabbing content ideas on motivation for fitness. There you go, right? We can then take these and ask ChatGPT, give me some inspiring success stories, and then we can obviously add in our client testimonials or how Susan lost 3 stone in 6 months and feels better than ever, right? So we can take these sort of like generic content ideas and make them specific to our own businesses. And that's where we kind of get into long form versus short form. So the question now is, how do we actually get this in front of people who we want to get in front of? So social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube are now heavily leaning on short form content, quite heavily, as you've seen. We're all on it. Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, it's literally like a dick swing contest for like who can get the most sort of attention on the platform. And the only purpose of the platforms is to keep the eyes on the platform. Personally, as coaches, I'll be focused on Instagram and Facebook at the moment. The reason being is there's no DMs on TikTok. Well, there is, I think, but it's like very crap. And YouTube, like I would just literally be testing content on TikTok and YouTube. So getting the stuff out there that might or might not work, got more chance of going viral, which we'll go into shortly. you've got more chance of just like sort of getting it in front of more people, getting eyes on your stuff. I would then direct them back to your Instagram, because you've got obviously the DM tools, you've got more chat options, you can expand on your content in stories and give more context on it, all that kind of stuff. And YouTube, people use it as a search engine, but generally they won't buy off you from YouTube or TikTok. People will generally buy from Facebook and Instagram. But I don't think all is lost for longer form content. But my prediction is that anything in between is likely going to become ineffective or obsolete. So what I mean by that is, if you take a 3-hour Joe Rogan podcast, people will watch that podcast. He will clip out like maybe 10, 12-minute clips from that podcast. But in theory now, they're just going to push all that to YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels rather than the actual 8 to 10-minute clips. So I'm a big fan of podcasts. Like, I'm a big fan of, like, I would advocate to anyone to create a podcast, because you could literally create 10, 15, 20 podcasts around every single client pain point or knowledge gap that you could use as a resource. Chop that all up as your short form content. You've probably got 10 to 15, 20 more videos a month that you can put out on your socials directly solving someone's problem. Does that make sense? So it's not a case of long form versus short form, it's a case of long form and short form. I think just anything in between is just kind of going to kind of get lost. So long form content ideas, a live video, something I desperately need to do more of. I keep promising myself to do more live streams. I don't know why I don't. I think it might be like a limited belief. You could make longer form YouTube videos. It's like your typical 6 to 8 minute YouTube video. Like, I don't know, maybe it's better doing a podcast. But then you can make these into blog posts, email newsletters, or all the above. ChatGPT and all this technology that we've got now, it's going to make Descript and all that kind of thing. It's going to make it a lot easier to sort of multiply our content to get it in front of more people. But I'd always start with a video, because if you start with a video, you've got the long form piece of content. You can also chop it up in short form. You can get the transcription, make that into an email, make that into tweets. You can even ask ChatGPT to take the email or take the text and make it into an Instagram carousel. And it will literally tell you what photo to put in to the carousel in each slide. Like, mind-blowing, but there we go. So once you've done all them things, the next thing to do is plan it out, talk it out, which I like to do, or write your heart out for one afternoon a week. Whatever you prefer. I'm just more audible, is it? Not the word? So from there, we can probably clip out 10, 15, 20 pieces of short form content, which are around 30 to 60 seconds long, which will directly help your audience from maybe, a 30, 45, 60-minute podcast. Like, I've been editing Dan and Tom's podcast, and they're getting so much value out of that through short form, because they're just dropping gem after gem after gem. And they may have like a 45-minute podcast, and they're getting tons out of it. And you can actually use the short form as like a call to action to the longer form. And obviously, the more people consume of you, the more sort of trust and authority you're going to build for them. So the outcome, as I said, you're going to have a resource which you can use as a high-value piece of content, a lead magnet, or even use it in your paid program. Not only that, but you've 10x at probably a minimum your social media output on a topic which directly helps your ideal clients with short-form content. If you don't want to sit there and create 20 short-form videos in a row, just create 1 hour of a problem-solving piece of content and clip it out from there. If you want any help with the editing, obviously, just give me a shout. I'm in the group. I'm on the Slack channel. So now we've identified the framework of how we can sort of generate them ideas. We can actually start to give generously and give the value. This creates social belongingness. This makes your audience feel seen, heard, and acknowledged. And this is when you start to create more visibility, impact, and income, like we talked about. This is where you're going to get it in front of more eyes, better eyes. You're going to have more of an impact on people, and hopefully they will start to engage with the content. You'll start to be able to DM them. You might get them on a call. I've had clients who literally just sat in silence, not commented anything for months and months and months, ended up in my DMs one day, next day they signed up as a client. You never know who's watching it. So in the process, you will get more views, you will get more following as such in the process of doing this, but that's not the sort of main objective of it. The main objective is getting in front of the right people rather than a lot of people. So these people go from someone who doesn't really know who you are to someone who sees you helping them, teaching them, solving problems, overcoming limiting beliefs and adding massive value to them, basically. And this catapults them from just being aware of who you are to actually generating demand for your services. So when you actually do come to sell something, they actually want to buy off you, basically. I mean, I've had so many launches that I just fell flat on the face because I haven't done all this stuff and I haven't given enough value up front. And whoever gives the highest value add will ultimately win the day. And that's the power of video content marketing. But how do we actually create the videos? Any names for this? Any alternative names will be much appreciated. But the APSA framework is something I came up with. First is attention. So in the first 3 seconds of a video, the only job of the video is to stop the person scrolling and get them to watch the rest of the content. That's it, right? So, Brett touched on this in the copywriting. It's the same thing. The only job is to get them to watch the video. That's it. I would spend a lot of time, most of the time when it comes to creation, focusing on this. This is like the top of the funnel stuff. This is like the, what's his name? Eugene Schwartz, is it? The breakthrough advertising guy who does the buyer journey. He probably pick up it's an old book now, it's from like 1970s or something. Probably pick it up for like 200 quid or something. He talks about this, it's like the top of the funnel. This is like what gets the people into the funnel, that gets them into your world and all that kind of stuff. We call it a hook. So a hook is an opening statement that makes the audience curious about what's to come. Literally, that's the only job of it. It's literally just get them to consume the rest of it. If the hook is bad, then the content is dead on arrival. They won't listen to it. Give them a reason. Give them a reason to watch, right? Attention content should be direct and provoke thought and not people. You will see, like the Andrew Tates of the world and the James Smiths of the world who, you know, this is my opinion, if you don't agree, you're a cunt and all that kind of stuff. I don't like that stuff. I don't like provoking people. I don't like staring a pot or twisting a knife on anyone. But it should provoke thought. It should get someone thinking, oh, that's me. So the hook formula that I've took from mentors and honed over time is there's 3 ways we can do this. The relatable reveal, we prepare the problem or set up a solution. Usually that will pique someone's interest. Okay. Now, it's like anything, over time, the more you practice this stuff and get ideas down, the more it will become more powerful to you, as Brett can probably sort of testify to that. So some examples. So as a coach, I don't know about you guys, but I was doing it for so long that I kind of forgot that people were still very beginnerish. I forgot that people still went to Slimming World and had no idea about nutrition. They still didn't know what calories were or anything like that. And you kind of get so far into it that you just kind of forget, right? That people are so far. You think, oh, my knowledge is expanded so much on this topic that I feel like everyone's has. But actually, people are still in that same routine as they were 15, 20 years ago. It's still the same thing. So as an example, we talk about the law of thermodynamics. Most people aren't going to know what that is. But we do, and that's kind of like familiar to us, right? As coaches. So if you said something like, oh, the law of thermodynamics is stopping you losing weight, it's like, you kind of lost someone there because they don't know what it is. It's confusing people, right? So we talk about using Hemingway. Oh, like people don't like being confused. So a better way of doing it is a relatable reveal is, here's why this law you may not have heard of is stopping you from losing weight. You're making it relatable because you're saying, well, you may not have heard of this, but this could be a reason why, right? They're going to want to know what that law is. Oh, then you can go into like preparing a problem. Most people don't understand what calories are, right? Preparing a problem. Are you training 5 times a week and eating healthy but still not losing weight? And these are just examples, maybe bad examples in the copywriting world. But these are, like, I've been there myself where I've been training really hard, like powerlifting and jiu-jitsu and all this rest of this stuff. And I've still not been making any progress. Like, I've been there. So, and I've had clients who've been there. So because I've had clients who've been there, I know that other people will probably be thinking that too. And then we can set up a solution. So here's a simple way to lose weight without burning yourself into the ground using this method. Kind of saying this, but the other way around. Right? Does that make sense? Any questions so far? Not lost anyone?
You say they're separate options, right?
Yeah. You don't put them all in one, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The reason why I'm focusing on the attention part, like, quite heavily is because it's the most important part. Because if you don't get that right, people just won't watch the videos. If you go on TikTok, you can actually see where people drop off on the videos. So if you've got a 30-second video and people dropping off after 5 seconds, that's not good. If you're getting people dropping off after, like, maybe 27 seconds, that's pretty good. Ideally, you want them to watch the video in its entirety. If you're on YouTube and doing, like, a longer form or doing, like, a podcast, that hook could literally last for, like, 5 minutes and just really talk it out. And you can really expand on that. And obviously, the more we know about the topic, the more we can actually do that. I found it interesting before what we said about starting in the middle and working backwards. That's actually a good way of doing it. I mean, I've had a ton of clients who've probably been training 5 times a week and eating really, or what they perceive as really healthy, but still not making any progress. I mean, I've been there. I've had tons of clients who've been there. So I know that's something that's going to, like, really sort of stick in someone's head. The next thing is the problem. So we present a problem which they may face, which piques curiosity to find a solution. This makes them feel like you're speaking directly to them. So it could be something along the lines of, are you training 5 times a week and eating healthy but still losing weight? Then we present the problem to them. So many girls or guys are training really hard but not making any progress, and it's super frustrating. We've just presented that problem to them, right? Problem aware style content should be empathetic and understanding. It shouldn't twist the knife, like I said. I mean, you'll see people who do twist the knife quite a bit, but you don't want to make anyone feel bad. Like, you don't want someone to have an inferiority complex on you, because you become unrelatable and they're not going to want to speak to you anyway. And then it moves on to solution. So you can give, this is where the viewer is probably going to get the most value, because you're actually solving the problem for them. So basically, just give away your best stuff. Like, don't hold anything back on this. I wouldn't hold anything back either, because people will perceive you as, like, sort of snide if you do. Like, what's he got to hide? What works well here are, like, how-tos, listicles, list articles, step-by-steps, all that kind of stuff works well. In terms of the actual solution, the solutions that you give should actually be in your services. So you don't want to give them a solution that you can't sell to them afterwards. Oh, can you help me with that? Well, no, I don't do that. But you've given them a solution. That makes sense. So the solution should always, like, kind of be something that you actually offer. Most coaches who are new to this will jump to the solution straight away. How to do squats, how to improve your deadlift, how to count your calories better, whatever it is, right? How to be motivated all the time. They'll jump to this before they've even grabbed their attention or set up a problem. Well, why do I need to know how to do squats? Like, that's what someone's probably going to be thinking if you just jump to this stuff. So make sure you're really sort of lacing your content with the attention and problems. Problems don't... There are problems that people face, but there could also be knowledge gaps as well, and it could also be frequently asked questions that you're getting. So they're the 3 pots I like to draw from. So we know when it comes to, like, fat loss and nutrition and training, people have a ton of problems that they face. Time, effort, energy, motivation, whatever it is, right? But they also have knowledge gaps. There's just things that they don't actually know. What I like to do is I like to go onto other people's profiles, like other coaches or other, in my case, video content guys or videographers, and actually just look at their content and just not copy them, but just figure out what they're not talking about. Make sense? So I might look at someone who's sort of in the fitness industry, who's doing what I do, and I go, okay, this guy's not talking about this stuff. This is stuff I could talk about that could fill the knowledge gap of a potential client. Make Makes sense? And there's also frequently asked questions. In check-ins, in DMs, you're going to get constant questions about this stuff. Just make a long-form piece of content about that. It's really going to help someone. Odds are that if one person is suffering with that problem, there's thousands of people are, right? And then we go to visualization. Now, a lot of people miss this one out as well, but I think this is powerful. So show your audience what their life will look like with the solution in place. This is where things like testimonials, step-by-steps through the story of like how someone got from A to B. This is how Steve got from 17 stone overweight to the physique he wanted in a really good place in his life, right? And he's showing them and helping them visualize what that's going to be like. It bridges the gap between where they are now and where they want to be, right? So we've grabbed their attention. We've presented a problem that they're legitimately facing. We've offered them a viable solution, which actually works. And now we're helping them visualize what the difference will be between the person they are now and the person they will be in a month, 2 months, 3 months time. And the last part is action. We want them to get them to do something that we want them to do. So at this point, if you've done this right, the viewer should be compelled at this point to take the desired action that you want them to. And you can ask for a direct micro commitment to warm them up. So that could be something like follow for more, or hit save if you like this post, shares, comments, DMs, all them things are indicators of interest. So any engagement like that is an indicator of interest. So engage with them. What I like about that framework as well is that can be done in one post. You could literally write an attention sentence, a problem sentence, and so. Or you could spread that out over maybe 5 or 6 posts. So you could do one post that's purely attention grabbing, bit less niche, bit more virality to it, bit more entertaining. Something that's just going to get in front of people, get more shares, make people laugh, put the laughing out loud emoji on the post, whatever it is. The next one could be a problem post. Next one could be a solution post. You can just run through that on a week-to-week basis. So you can do that in one post, or you can do it spread out over multiple posts. And by doing that, we can actually batch create the videos that we want to create. So what I do is write out 1 to 2 sentences maximum for each stage if you're doing this in batch creation. So 1 to 2 sentence hook, 1 to 2 sentence problem, solution, so on and so forth. Each video should have one main takeaway, and it should be short and valuable. When I say short and valuable, anywhere between 30 and 60 seconds. Don't need to be any longer than that. Especially if this is done on Instagram and Facebook now. Should obviously be conveyed clearly. Don't mumble jumble. Don't be too quiet. Don't be too outlandish. And it should have some strong copy on, which I'm probably not the strongest on, to be fair. As of right now, I can spend probably 2 mornings a month. I could just create maybe 20, 30 videos in a row, just doing it that way. Because if I've got that framework where I can just write out a few little sentences, I don't need to like literally read off the sheet. I could literally just have it in front of me and just be like, okay, press play, go, press play, go, press play, go. Might take me a few hours every morning. Can get a bit frustrating at times. But you can legitimately create a ton of content in a short space of time if you're going to do it that way and not create the longer form. As I said, the beauty of this framework is that it can be done across a single post or spread across multiple posts, and we'll meet each viewer where they're at in the buyer journey, whether that's sort of top of the funnel or the sort of red dot waiting to buy off you, or as soon as the spot opens, then they'll jump on it straight away. So how do we reach more people? I call them audience magnet videos. Less specific, highly shareable, usually polarizing or personal opinions. Should be entertaining and educational. Magnet videos usually about 80% entertaining, 20% educational. More higher value videos will be the other way around. Easily digested. You should be able to watch this in the queue in a supermarket or on a toilet, or you don't have to take too much time out of the day to get the sort of value from it. More instantly gratifying and low in impact overall, but more chance of virality. So that's where like the sort of dancing style TikToks and stuff will That's kind of that kind of video. You'll see tons of this on socials now. If you go onto like the explore page and just scroll through Reels, you'll see tons of these. When you reach more people, your following will grow, and therefore the people you reach will consume your deeper value and sales content on your actual profile. Does that make sense? So there needs to be like a balance between this like sort of fun, sort of silly style content and the actual deeper value stuff that you're going to provide. I think that's important. I'm trying to kind of get a good ratio for that. Don't know how successful I'm being at it, but I'm trying to get like sort of that ratio a bit more sort of in line with what I'm trying to do. And then we can teach more people. So we do this through nurturing videos, so more specific to your target audience, easy to digest as always. Again, we don't want to baffle people. We don't want them to come away from this video thinking, he really knows what he's talking about, but I didn't understand a word he said, right? Again, should be educational and entertaining. With these, more educational and more value giving than sort of being silly and doing stupid stuff. Storytelling actually works really well on these. There's actually, I was speaking to Tanya Fowler last week, and she said, like, we were going through this, and she said that we were talking about the Pixar, like Disney Pixar framework for scripts. So if you watch any Disney Pixar film, like Lion King or Toy Story, they will always have like this like setup of like this perfect life, and then there's like this hero, and then something bad happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then they overcome the problem, and then it ends up in a good, like, do that kind of stuff. If you go onto the Pixar thing, I think you can actually get the framework. More delayed gratification and longer term impact. So you're probably not going to get as many likes and saves and shares on these style posts. These are the posts that you'll probably get a bit frustrated with because you're thinking, this is going to help a ton of people, and it's just not getting the impact I want. But actually it will. If people are really interested in you engaging them right, then it will. And it's something that they can actually tangibly action after they watch it. So if they go away and action something on a video, great. Like, that you've done your job, right? But actually, most of the time they'll turn around and go, okay, can you do that for me? Because I'm not really that good at editing, or I'm not that good at counting calories or whatever, right? So the goal here is to build authority, teach specific things to specific people, and showcase your knowledge. This content should almost always have a call to action and make it highly likely that the call to action is followed. Again, it can be a micro commitment, or can be a more bold call to action, like drop me a DM if you're interested in signing up with me, or whatever it is, right? Some things to note. Short form content should be prioritized just because that's where the attention is at the moment. Might change, and all your videos should be in 9:16 format, unless on YouTube, where it's 16:9, the other way around. Expand on feed posts in your stories every day. I think that's important because people will watch a video and be like, oh, I kind of got that, but I kind of need a bit more context on it. Stories are amazing. Like, be in your stories all the time. Like, really give like context on everything. So if someone's done a really like quality transformation, but physical transformation, then you might have like a video testimonial from that client where they're talking about their transformation, but you could actually give more value on top of that by explaining the process that you actually implemented with them. And some of your content will cover all bases. So some of it will be entertaining and educational. Some of it will go viral and be deeper value. Some of it, I mean, you look at the sort of Goggins and Jocko Willink stuff, it's like super viral, but there's not much behind it really. Users love short form content. Like, I'm guilty of it, hands up. Like, I'll go in a scroll hole like quite easily. I'll find myself 20 minutes deep in short form content, like just sitting on the bed, right? But you can easily repurpose Reels, TikToks, and YouTube Shorts. Now, there's a bit of discussion around this, and I'd love to get your feedback on this, because this is just what I found. With Reels, TikToks, and YouTube, some people say that you should actually redesign the videos for each platform. I just use the same one for each of them. I don't think there's any difference. What you could even do is kind of get maybe 3 Reels, sort of similar topic or even different topic. See what performs best on TikTok, YouTube Short. It's on there. You've uploaded maybe 3 in a day. See what performs best, and stick that on Instagram, where the majority of your clients will probably be. Instagram and Facebook still have an older demographic than TikTok, so that kind of means more buying power. If you're marketing to like sort of 20-year-old college kids, they're probably not going to have much money, especially if your program is like maybe 300-400 quid a month, like mine is. It's not going to be like in their sort of scope to actually buy that stuff. So you actually want to be in a place where people have the buying power to actually buy services. And as I said, some of your content will cover all bases. Post every day with consistency. You will become more confident on video. You will become more confident in your content. And consistency is the key to all success. You will get positive and negative feedback on videos. I've just got to the point now where I'm starting to get like really dodgy comments on like YouTube. It's like unnecessary, but people are taking time out to do it. But there's no, it didn't work for me. Video and content, even if it's photos, graphics, content works. Content works. So we can talk about the algorithm and getting suppressed and all that kind of stuff. If you've provided enough value, it does work and it will work. And it doesn't matter what niche you're in or in what industry you're in, it will work if there's enough value being provided. I'm working with a bit left wing for me, but like I'm working with a kitchen design company at the moment, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to post other than, you know, the showroom of the kitchens. But like, talk about the process, about how people buy kitchens, or like the bolts that people put into the cupboards when they're buying a kitchen. Like, there's so much like deeper layers that you can go into with your content. And you all have a unique value, as I said. So give it all away. It won't hinder people buying into your services. There's probably like 1% of people that will actually action something that they see on socials. I mean, of all the stuff that I've consumed on video content on socials over the years, I've probably actioned only the stuff I paid for, to be honest with you. Audience magnet videos will drive more eyeballs to your profile, which is kind of what we want. We want to get people to see our stuff. And audience nurture videos will warm people up with value. Magnets plus nurture equals a stacking effect for growth. So you'll get more viewers, which is the first thing, which will hopefully in turn grow your audience, which again in turn will turn into engagement, which is an indicator of interest. That will turn into conversation. That will turn into a call, into a sale, so on and so forth. So content, as I said, content engagement equals an indicator of interest. Talking head videos are the easiest to film and edit. And I use Adobe Rush to edit on my phone. And I like Adobe Rush because it syncs between mobile, tablet, and desktop. So if you start the edit on your phone, you can then log into the desktop and finish it on the computer if you want. Right? So that's why I like that one. Has really good filters and editing tools and all that stuff. Probably not as like complex as some other ones. I know Video Leap's getting like really high performing AI on it now, CapCut and all that kind of stuff. But Adobe Rush is the one for me, so I'd highly recommend you use that. Watch other people's videos. Like, you won't get a bigger video fan than me. I watch tons of videos. Like, anytime I've got any free time, I drive my missus mad because I just constantly watch videos of like loads of crap, basically.
I think I'd add to that, videos of other genres is probably most helpful than getting sucked into.
Yeah, you don't want to.
watching loads of other coaches.
I mean, I've been guilty of it, especially when I was a coach, of like looking at other coaches and thinking, how are they making like 10 times more money than I am, and I'm giving more value than they are. I see it in like gym floor PTs as well now. Like how's this guy doing 20 sessions a week when I'm only doing 2, and I'm doing all this stuff and So yeah, like expand your horizon on it, definitely. Like consume everything.
One of the things I found with that is like looking at adjacent industries of things, so not just like PTs or whatever, looking at like maybe, I don't know, if you're a PT, looking at a dietitian or
Yeah.
a nutritionist or whatever.
Definitely.
I find they'll have a different slant there that's just copying.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you're like a makeup artist, for example, you could look at like nail technicians and look at that style content. Yeah, I get it. And enjoy the process. Like enjoy creating stuff. Like, we're meant to create stuff. Creating stuff is the good part of it, which I love to do. And that's where I don't think AI is going to be able to replace the fulfillment of actually just creating something good. Like, how fulfilling is it to like just create like a really good product or a really good service for someone, or provide that value to someone? Like, it's not going to replace that. So just enjoy that process. It's cool. Like, good. That should have been in it earlier. So yeah, pain points, knowledge gaps, and frequently asked questions. So pain points, all the sort of things that are causing them sort of aggravation in their life. Knowledge gaps, things they don't actually know yet, and frequently asked questions, obviously. And that's it. Any questions?
I've got a question about the problem solution.
Yeah.
How do you find it is effective to allude to the fact that you're going to give them a solution on the problem?
Yeah.
So here's the problem.
And here's what you can do about it.
Stay tuned. I'm going to give you that for you.
Yeah. You could even say something like, you could even give like a micro commitment call to action there. So it could be like, if you're struggling with burnout, training 6 times a week and not seeing much progress at the moment, you're really going to want to save this post, because I'm going to tell you exactly how to sort that out, and then just dive into it. And that's the more direct micro commitments you can get from someone over time, the more likely they are to do the big call to action when you give it to them. Like if you're doing a launch every 3 months, for example, and I've been through this process where I've just kind of launched and it just fell flat as a pancake because I've not like set everyone up for it. And Dan is obviously better at this than I am. But over time, if I'm getting like direct micro commitments from people, I actually find better standards of clients over time when I do give that big call to action, because they're so used to saying, "Oh, that's cool, yeah, that's cool, yeah," and then the value kind of builds and builds and builds, and that's what I said about it's like a stacking effect, for growth, not just in obviously your following, but like growth is in the quality of people you're going to get coming into your program. Thanks for listening. I appreciate your time.
Sorry, next question.
Go on.
My question is actually on audio quality.
Yes.
Lighting quality.
Yes.
So, what can you do to kind of maximise that?
Audio quality. My man's here. He put a microphone on me.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Got the Rode mic. Got the Rode mic. Yeah. So there's actually with audio, controversial opinion, I think audio is more important than visual. If people can't hear what you're saying, it doesn't matter what your content looks like. It could look that.
Be worth investing in.
So the Rode mic, that's probably about 300 quid, I think, at the moment. But but the best you can get. I was speaking to Em about this at Christmas. Like literally the best microphones you can get. I have actually got. Yeah. I think it's like a status thing to like the big. I've actually got just like.
Then you've got the one up here.
Yeah.
You don't have the bit. See what I mean?
Yeah.
The mic there.
Yeah.
Then you can use it by clicking it.
Yeah. Absolutely. DJI, like as we were saying before, the Rode mic and the DJI is good. If you don't have this, you will have to clip it on. I carry these around with me just because I don't want to lose my, like when I do like videography shoots and video content shoots, I'll use these microphones because they're a lot better. But I picked these up for like 40 quid off Amazon, and I just use these for like just getting around doing video content, because if I lose them, it doesn't really matter. If I lose this, I'm going to be fuming. You know what I mean? So I'll just use these just like, they're just like a Bluetooth microphone they've got off Amazon for iPhones, and they work pretty well. Not as good quality as these, but good enough for standard video content. So it's like if I go out and do a video shoot in a gym, I'm going to use these 100%, because it's going to block out sound from like music and stuff and other people in the gym, weights banging around. But these, if I'm just like in this room, these will work pretty well. But yeah, Rode mic.
What's that one called?
This is a Bass Easterville.
The link in Slack.
I will put the link in Slack. I think this was like, I went on Amazon and I literally typed in iPhone Bluetooth microphone, and it came up with like 45 quid. Some of them looked a bit naff, to be fair, so I pied them ones off, but these are working pretty well. I'm doing like interview style content at the moment, like interviewing people. Again, works pretty well, and I'm not bothered if I lose them because I can just rebuy them. Whereas if I lost my Rode mic, I'd be absolutely devastated. In terms of lighting, there's like a 3-point setup that you can do. So the 3-point setup is, imagine you had a camera in front of you. You would have one on 45-degree angle, like behind your head, and then one on another 45-degree angle. That would perfectly light you up. if you wanted a more like cinematic look, like more like sort of darker, you'd have 45-degree angle and have this side of your face like shadowed.
So you wouldn't have one direct in front of you.
No, because you're just going to look really overexposed. You're just going to have like too much light in your shot, and you'll have to do like a lot of like color correcting and editing. 45-degree angle and like just get like a beam light behind you. You can get like little like blue lights.
Check the link for that one as well.
I'll throw the link.
Yeah.
I'll throw some. Yeah, throw me on Amazon affiliate. But yeah, audio. I would really take care of the audio. Yeah, 100%. One quick thing is like most people don't have Adobe Premiere Pro and like desktop-based editing softwares aren't very user-friendly, so they're not like plug and play like mobile phone apps are. But there's like a give or take with that, because on an iPhone, if I'm editing a video, if I'm just out and about, I'll quickly edit a video and put it up, no stress. That's great. But if you're doing like more like podcast style stuff, I'd definitely invest in like a desktop software, because the capabilities of that software is so much better than what you're going to get on an iPhone. Just through screen size and what you're looking at and different things. So it's definitely worth investing in that. And you can, but most people do it, just film on the phone. Most people haven't got this sort of £1,000 camera or anything like that. So filming on your phone, it might be easy just to film yourself, edit it, get it out there. If you're looking for more sort of pro looking edits, definitely invest in a desktop software or a video editor. But if there's anything you need, guys, I'm on the Slack channel. I'll put all my Amazon affiliates and get loaded off you all.
That's actually how you meet your income budget.
Yeah. Only make like £1,000 a month for video at $4,000 off Amazon. But yeah, thanks for listening. I appreciate your time, and hopefully you can action some of that stuff.